Designing enclosures can be a bit tough, especially when dimensions need to be spot on and you're unsure if your board will fit. This is a surefire, easy way to do it if you have a 3D printer, or if you're willing to test something like an enclosure or something that you've bought online. Here we got the motor driver project that we recently completed maybe 1 month or 2 months ago. And if in Altium you can export them to a step file, which will be allowed for you to open this file in your CAD choice. So for mine, it'll be Fusion 360. To this we go to File, Export, and Step 3D. This will be a similar process if you're using KiCad, Proteus, or any other sort of electronic design tool. Here in Fusion 360 I have loaded up my board and I can see the 3D model of it. I can also see the components of it, and this really just solidifies the fact that the need for the 3D model and their components. You can see the size difference and whatever, and see if your board is kind of spot on and if you're happy with what it's doing. So these 3D models can really help me in building my board out. I can see where the connector lies. Like you see, does it have a little lip? Can I get something in there where the buttons lie? Do I want a light tube on this LED? So now that we've got our board in here, I'm going to design this and see how easy it is. So as you can see here, that I can directly line up with the mounting holes to ensure that I am 3D printing the right dimensions. But of course you can just set your mounting hole size to whatever it is to ensure that you're correct. Remember, there are some tolerances with 3D printing, so do keep that in mind. So when you do extrusion, you gotta give a little bit of a space for connectors to make sure the 3D models of the parts do not touch. Of course, these walls are way too thin for 3D printing. I would probably make them a bit thicker, but you should generally get the idea of what I'm going at here. And I'm just gonna do some CAD and enjoy the montage for what it is. So now you have access to your holes like that, and I've done all of this based on my 3D model. So of course this is not this is not a perfect board enclosure by any means. That this illustrates what I'm trying to achieve here by designing a board based on just the 3D model itself, the step file, and how you can easily draft up something like this and you can get it bang on right without having to go through multiple iterations. Just remember that you've got to make it 2 separate prints. You may put a push fit or something into that, or whatever you choose to do. So I hope that was helpful in validating it. And one thing that you could also do with this is you could actually print off your enclosure. So you could print it off and you could get a piece of paper if you're still unsure. Print off your board and just lay it over top of each other to see if it fits. So this method also works with step files. If you find enclosure online, usually manufacturers should give a step file. So for example, in this was a Hammond Manufacturing, not sponsored by them, though I do use their products quite a bit, and you know, they have a whole bunch of enclosures. So let's say I wanted to use this one, and I'm looking at this like, oh, this is really interesting. Okay, I'll go here. Like okay, so you know, they have all this. So you know, I want this one. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, oh, I don't know. So I'll click the 3D CAD, open that up. See, I've got the STP file. So I'm back. So I've downloaded the step file. I'm going to open it up here in Fusion. So I've got the step file. I'm going to open it up here back in Fusion 360. And there you have it. So with this file, you can play around with it. You can open up the lid. We can turn off different models. We can get a rough feel for it. We could even import our board into this. We can lay it right on top of each other. We can see if the mounting holes that we've designed line up perfectly with it. This will help us avoid any mistakes. So I had a board once where I've completely missed out the mounting holes. I completely got the dimensions wrong. Had I done this before, just imported into the enclosure of my choice, I could have really just, got it right the first time. Luckily, the design engineer was kind enough to actually 3D print me an enclosure, and everything turned out a-okay, except for my own idiocy. So I do highly recommend you do this. It's just so quick and easy to import, get the step file of your choice, and test out your board.